the start of the actual name and brand of Marvel vs. Capcom. It was Marvel Superheroes vs. Capcom's finest. No longer just reduced to the Street Fighter world, but the wider Capcom universe, as you saw the likes of Captain Commando, Strider Hugh, Mega Man joining on the action. The unique feature for this was the addition of an assist character, so you had to choose the standard team of 2 characters in a 2-on-2 battle. But now you can add a third character who can come in and assist in enemy damage, but for a select number of tries which vary between the characters. The game is chaotic as ever with combos galore, but there is also another feature, the variable cross, or otherwise known as the dual team attack, where both your characters simultaneously appear on screen for a limited time to cause as much damage as possible, and that's where maximum carnage ensues. There is a roster of 15 characters plus another 6 characters, of which really Roll and Lilith out of these new fighters are brand new. The rest of them are just variations of the established roster, like Shadow Lady is an altered version of Chun-Li, and Red Hulk is the Hulk, but in red with a slightly different moveset, but nothing much in the vein of groundbreaking. The big bad of this game is Onslaught, a being created from the amalgamation of Charles Xavier and Magneto's dark side. He is definitely a huge upgrade on Apocalypse in terms of difficulty. Everything about this character screams final boss, and you'll have to work your socks off to beat him. He has 2 forms, with his first being a tall character on screen with plenty of projectiles and fast-hitting hits, and also controlling other characters that come in and you have to do battle with them. The next being a massive giant with his head demasked and hitting you with all manner of projectiles, including his massive Behold My Mighty Hand attack. This can seriously deplete your energy even if you block, so it's better to just jump and avoid. When you do finally beat Onslaught, you feel like you've accomplished a great feat, and this is miles different from the experience with Apocalypse. There are various end of story scenes and dialogue which are played out, but they're very, very brief, and that's the end of the game.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes.
Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes arrived in the year 2000, right at the start of the new millennium. It first came out to arcade cabinets in Japan, and then over the course of the next 3 years it was released to most consoles in the Western world, including the Dreamcast, the PlayStation 2, and the Xbox. And years later it was part of the PSN and Xbox Live On Gaming library, which received thousands of downloads. This game, simply put, was a best of and included every playable fighter in the franchise up to that point, from X-Men all the way to Marvel vs. Capcom. A grand total of 56 characters. There were also a few new additions. Guile makes his first appearance in this franchise, and his character sprites are straight from Street Fighter Alpha 3, as were most of the other Street Fighters, although it was in the Alpha games prior to Alpha 3. Ruby Heart and Cable are the newbies who join in the fray. This entry into the franchise brought in yet another great feature. Now, it was a 3 vs 3 tag mode, being able to select 3 characters and tagging at will, whilst combining for an astounding Team Hyper combo move, just added to the already fast and furious style of the gameplay. The final boss, Abyss, is unlike any of the previous final bosses in the series. He was specifically created by Capcom for this game, and he takes 3 forms, so in effect you're fighting 3 bosses. The first, a giant sentinel-like creature in a suit of armor. He just keeps going even though you can just combo attack him at will, and take his energy provided you can avoid his attacks, as those can take a lot of your own energy. The second form is a humanoid green creature which just shoots laser beams and projectiles, as well as a force bomb, which you have to avoid because you cannot block it in any way, shape or form. And then finally his last form, a ferocious blood red beast covering up like a third of the screen while stabbing in and out of the ground, jumping from side to side with an attack. I find this form not quite as tough to beat as the second form. If I'm using my Iron Man War Machine and Cable combo, one hyper combo attack on the rolling black ball, the source of his energy, can finish him off in one instant. Once you beat him, there is a mass explosion and then the end credits roll. There is no story endings for any of the characters, which for me is a huge drag. The only semblance of a story is Ruby Heart, holding the black ball after the battle is over before tossing it into the sea. Legendary fighting characters, historical comic figures, a fast and frenetic paced fighting game, scary larger than life bosses with excellent sprites, cool looking backgrounds, great graphics, chaos galore, an all-time fighting classic. February 2011 saw the long-awaited release of the next game in the Versus series, Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds. Carrying on the style set by its predecessor Marvel vs. Capcom 2, you take control of a team of 3 fighters which you can randomly swap during the course of the round and beat all 3 of your opponent's chosen characters and be declared the victor. I had been praying for a follow-up to one of the greatest fighting games ever in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. I remember watching the build-up to the release of this game back in 2011. I would watch all the trailers that would come out to get a feel of the game, and I also watched the demos that were shown at E3, and being at first a little unsure about the visual look, but the gameplay was excellent and more in line with what I'd grown accustomed to with the previous games. I was a little concerned about the roster and who was going to be in it. 2 of my favourite characters in the Marvel series are Cyclops and Gambit, and in all the trailers and the gameplay that I was seeing there was absolutely no sign of them. But I was still excited though for the game to come out. Now I move on to the main villain, and whoa, it's a doozy. The fearsome Galactus. His intro is just an awesome sight to see. Like his predecessors, he takes up a large chunk of the screen and hits you with all-powerful blasts and punches, which can lead up to 100 plus hit combos and take 80% of your health bar. Thanks to this cel-shaded graphical art style of the game, he looks even more fearsome than Onslaught or Apocalypse. To start off with, he sends his minions to battle, so villains in the game like Wesker or Akuma are under his control, and you gotta be quick to beat them, as there could be 2 characters simultaneously coming after you before you take on the big guy himself. My first encounter had me going, what the hell is this? You have to dodge all his punch or crush attacks. His energy burst can sap your life in the blink of an eye. I mean, it's very chaotic dealing with him as a boss. Blocking doesn't always help, especially with his planet-shattering hand crush that would kill you instantly if he connects. But once you have played him a few times, you get used to his patterns and you just should know when to hit and when to duck. So overall, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and its original Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is a fun fighting game, and I have thoroughly come to enjoy it, and I do play it quite a bit. I do feel that there could have been more from a roster point of view, and it is for this reason that I usually go back to Marvel vs. Capcom 2. But as I have already stated, the fun and chaotic gameplay, the beautiful cel-shaded graphics, the amazing background artwork, the update which included new characters and gameplay modes makes Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 a truly excellent fighting game.